Hey folks, LA Little here of TA Today. I want to take a look at the FANG stocks, right? The top weighted high-tech mega cap stocks, right? The ones that everybody wants to buy. If we're really entering into this range situation, and if you look at what's been happening, for I guess 3 weeks now, 2-3 weeks, these stocks are the ones that have led the market back down. Now, they're going to get the biggest bounce, but when they're done, if we're really in a range, and if that range is going to last for several weeks, which I believe is going to be the case, there's going to be potentially some shorts in this space. And so I want to look at these and say, okay, which ones should be the shorts? Now, let's just start with FANGs in general. This is a daily chart you see here. It comes down, breaks swing point lows, bunch of them actually. It's getting a big bounce. I want to focus, most of my focus is not daily. I don't day trade anymore. Sometimes, very seldom, only if I'm trading futures. But if you look at these stocks, they're going to be a shorter term trade. It's going to be a daily, weekly charts. We're not going to focus on monthly charts. On the monthly charts, these things look great, right? They're going to be fine. But on the daily, weekly charts is where we have potentially the issues, and so that's where we need to focus. So let's go look at the weekly to start with on each of these, and then ask ourselves which one looks like the best short. So the first question is it even a short here, right? Well, yes, I think it may be, but we don't know that yet. This swing point low hasn't broken yet. In other words, this trend is still bullish. That's here. Its MTTF is 70% though. Let me pull this up so you can see the whole thing, right? The short-term time frame. So it's 70% on the MTTFs, and it's bearish on the short-term time frame. What I want to see is I want to see this turn sideways, and that would tell me we're in a range. How does that happen? Well, that happens if you break a swing point low. That could happen this week. It may not happen. It could happen. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But if it does, then that's going to say a range is in place, and that range is going to be probably about to here. And so you probably got this side of the range. So you can imagine any kind of bounce back up to this area here, right, somewhere in there. That gives you a pretty good situation, right, where you're trading back towards the bottom end of this range. You take something in here, you only have risk to the highs, and you basically got a 2-to-1 at worst, and depending on how the setup comes, it could be even better. Now, if you go over and look at this, that swing point high over here is 35.26. Back over here, bottoms are 40. 35 is going to take you back to this swing point high. So if you actually came back to do a retest regen on the monthly, then this would be the bottom of it. So you could see that there's a lot more potential this way than there is risk that way. And so that's the idea. So now let's get into the stocks. Let's look at each one of them real quick together. We'll start with Apple. And before I get into Apple, let me ask you, if you watch these videos, if you like what you see, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, help me out. And that helps the algos pick me up eventually, and at the same time, hopefully it will get in front of a few other people that can benefit from it. Okay, Apple is here. So what do we got? Let's go to the weekly first. So Apple's coming in doing a retest regen on each of these swing point highs. Notice that this is more than 6 bars, 2, 4, 6 plus, right? This is a buy, or at least it was a buy as it came back into this, and of course it's gotten its bounce. But I'm not focused on that right now, but this is not someplace I'd be shorting. So we can just scratch that one, go to the next one, Amazon. If I look at Amazon, what do I see here? And we'll start with the weekly on it as well. Okay, now Amazon broke swing point lows. So I've got a break on a swing point low here. Red tells you that's where you should expect supply. Heavy red, the heaviest, right, the darkest, is where you really should expect it. So it's got a pretty good supply overhang. So that's kind of the first thing. The second thing is you've already broken 2 swing point lows. Well, excuse me, you broke one. You're trying to break the second one now this week. So in other words, it's sideways here. That's one break. It'll go to bearish if it breaks again. Now, if it goes to bearish, then that says for definitely you got a range at worst, right? Then the question is, how far can this thing come back? This is a swing point high. It's been tested before. That low is there. Oh, I'm looking for a good spot. I would think potentially worst case is down to there. Best case on the way down is probably this kind of consolidation area right here. So, and you can see that's heaviest support in there. So I would think somewhere, you know, ranging from, what is it, about 143 at best, and on the top side I would say you can't get over that. So you're basically from about 190 down to like 140, 144. If so, in other words, if I could get a short in here in that area, I don't have to risk very much, and I've got a lot of downside potential. So this one looks like something to be considering for a trade, and it's not showing huge strength here on this bounce. This is the bounce, and you really didn't get a very decent bounce on I'm doing this on Tuesday, 8/6, so not much of a bounce there. So Amazon, yeah, that could be one. Let's go to Google. Now Google's getting some bad press. They just had a ruling against them that actually is hurting them, and you can see here it is hurting them. They couldn't even get a bounce. They actually closed down on the day. So going to Google, let's do the same sort of thing and ask ourselves, what can it go to? Okay, this is the bullish retest region. It's already tested once there. You got a little gap area here. I would think Google could trade down to there pretty easy, which is yeah, I think so, because that's almost at this bar's high as well, the high of the low, which is always a good spot. Worst case, you could go all the way to here. So on the top side, you got to respect it could bounce that far. You got a swing point low, so that's a bearish retest right there. I would think somewhere in here is where you'd short. So lining those up and asking what's that numbers, 177 roughly down to, looks like about 142. So you got about 32. Yeah, it's not bad. You could get a pretty good short. I just think you're going to have a hard time getting a decent short in this area. In other words, I don't think it's going to bounce that far. You may get a short right here at the 170 as it comes back in and tests there. So that's Google. So yes, short. Can you get the setup? Don't know. Have to watch it. Meta is the next one. Now Meta, I told you in another video, I don't know, a month ago, that this one already had topped out. Now they had good earnings, they popped, but they couldn't hold them and drop back down. But you can see they got a decent bounce going on. They're going to come back up, and they're going to try to test back. And they've already broken this retest region, so that says they're already in a sideways trend. So that sideways trend is from here to the top. They're going to test back to this 520, 25, 525 area. Are they the best bet in terms of a short? Not really. I mean, I probably wouldn't want to short this chart compared to the other ones. So I'd probably leave that one alone. Let's go to the next one. Microsoft. What does Microsoft look like? Starting with the weekly. Now Microsoft has been struggling. You got swing point low here, swing point low here, swing point low there. Broke that one last week, so that changed this to sideways. You're 30% bearish. So where could you get? Let's just figure out our parameters. I think they're going to be hard pressed to get over that price point. That's about 449. Targets on the backside, I think the swing point high, that's about 363 it looks like. So that's 110 points. Excuse me, that's not 110, that's it's about 80 points. And you'd have to short it. Your best case on a short, this is a retest region here on the swing point low that it broke. So that top is 429. So you got to risk 20 to go after, you know, what is that? 37, 47, 57. So 57, 60. Yeah, that's not a bad short. So that's a possible short, but so far the Amazon looks best. Let's go to NVDA. Let's see what this one looks like. Now, I don't think anybody wants to short NVIDIA given what it's done to people. Your retest regen is here. Matter of fact, we bought this yesterday on the open. We being the members. Also bought Microsoft, also bought AVGO, which I pointed out in the last video on Sunday. I think it was on Sunday. That's the retest regen. That top's about 119. It's a small one, so it certainly can get over it. This was why we bought it. It came into a retest regen first test after more than 6 bars. Very high probability it's going to bounce. We're gonna flip this thing though into this, but I don't think I'd be going short. It's just too much danger to go short, and you got earnings coming up into the month. It's just not worth it. Go to Tesla. This is the last one. So far it looks like Amazon, maybe Google, but you probably won't get the setup on Google. And here's Amazon, excuse me, Tesla, and Tesla has tested back into a bullish retest regen. Had one here, and it's holding it as well. Wasn't more than 6 bars, so you're expected to get deep, which it did. Actually, this is not a bad setup to go long, not short. So I don't think I would be after this unless it breaks this bullish retest regen, and then I'd want to short a bounce. So right now I just don't see the trade here. So you're really down to 2: Amazon, Google. Amazon being the best one so far, Google being a good one, but I doubt you'll get the setup in terms of risk reward that you want in order to make the trade. Hopefully that helps. That's what I'm looking at next for the trades on, not this bounce that we're in. I'm not going to flip it here. I think we're going to come down, go up again. In other words, it's going to take a few days, maybe a week or two. That's going to be the setup for the bounce trade to the downside. Take care.